British fashion.
Green wellies and Barber jackets.
Classical
Young
look.
designers and fashion
And
students.
multicultural.
Big Y fronts.
Traditional garment.
Zip models. Marks and Spencer.
Heavy wool.
Frilly, glittery spandex stuff.
English suit.
Galliano.
High heels that people can't walk in. Spice Girls.
The Union Jack on summer's
And
underwear.
it's on the McQueen.
Rough and ready.
Naomi Campbell.
Real the flavour of the month.
Well, during the next few months, Britain's top designers will be preparing for London Fashion Week, and one of the rising stars is Anthony Symonds. He's a graduate from St. Martin's. He's designed for Paul Smith, Galliano, Moschino, and he's recently launched his own women's wear label. He's quickly become renowned for his understated elegance and superior quality. Definitely one to watch.
I mean, I think I deserve to make it. I think I'm pretty good at what I do. But you know, since when has being good at what you do been enough? Fashion is a strange world. I think people have a fancy that a lot of fashion designers sit around, you know, sketching frocks all day. I sketch more as a discipline than anything else. I don't sketch because it's how I work. I didn't used to draw at all. I don't think there's anything theoretical about what I do. You know, what you see is what you get. It's a nice dress. You know, I can almost flick through the collection in my mind. It's about 3 months to the show now, and I haven't done anything. What I have to do now is get all the fabrics together. I just suddenly thought, this is it. Tartan is the answer. You know, these Scottish fabrics are really hot. I mean, I know they're going to be hot. Basically, I've designed my own tartan and recoloured it, and it's gone up to Scotland and it's being made now.
At one time, I mean, the mills in Hype were thriving, but I mean, it's just a gradually shrinking industry now. Suppose I've been out for 40 odd years, so it's just a way of life. It could be anything from 10 garments to 200, 300 garments. But I mean, supposing even if it's 5, 6 garments, I mean, we still take the orders. Where the big firms, I mean, they won't be interested in making 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s the whole time.
You know, some of these mills are still using looms from the, you know, Industrial Revolution virtually, and things, you know, that they have a very specific way about them, these fabrics. They're much more dense, they're much more, you know, when you see an old fridge or something, you just think, God, they don't make them like that anymore. It's like a tank. You know, and British fabrics are like that in terms of their quality.
You could never get a machine to do what we do. It's impossible. We check the back and face for faults. Any faults we find, we mark with a thread on the end of the table, and then we go back and we repair them by hand. When we've finished you cannot see there has been a fault.
They're absolutely perfect. More perfect than any consumer would need them to be.
Is it for shawls? No, it's no head squares. This is tablecloths or travel rugs.
It's actually for garments. I'm going to use it for a skirt.
With fringes? I suppose, yeah. Well, I could, I suppose if you've got the fringes, yes, there you are, you've got a dress.
When you're making the garment, I mean, you just never think what it's going to end up in. It was up at a charity do up there at Christmas, and all the models were on the catwalk, and it was absolutely fantastic just to actually see that the garments that he'd made, and you thought, gee whiz, did I make them? You know? I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. Plus the models that's got them on as well, I mean, that's...
Really ordinary people. You didn't see ordinary people going about in stuff that you see going doing a catwalk. No, 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 no.
Savile Row is a street in London where all the traditional bespoke tailors are. Basically, they make made-to-measure suits for people, and nowhere else in the world does the same thing as Savile Row.
9.5 shoulder.
The story of Savile Row revolves around our company.
8.5 crossback.
And one of our first customers was Napoleon Bonaparte of France. And then here we have a copy of a cheque signed by Charles Dickens to the value of £15, and that probably at that time represents 2 suits, which in fact was a lot more in comparison to the price that we charge today.
1 3/8 left. 8.5 crossback. 31 full length.
I think one of the reasons that Savile Row has survived all these years is that we're on the doorstep of still the best fabric in the world.
17.5.
And in addition, you've got wonderful tweeds and cloths coming from the lowlands and Highlands of Scotland. But when you hear people saying they don't make it like they did in the old days, that is rubbish. We're making much finer clothes today, better fitting clothes than in Queen Victoria's time. The materials have changed, and to a certain extent so has the way we make it, because lightweight material, you have to be more an engineer than a sort of artist. I understand that Alexander McQueen started in Savile Row, in fact in the firm opposite to us here. I'm pleased to say that we have a third of our workforce now is under, 35, which augurs well for the future.
Street fashion. You know, the street is the place where all that stuff lives. I think the most interesting things that happen off the street are actually the designers reinterpreting them.
Street fashion is good for the individual. because you can dress how you want to.
Everybody seems to jump on the bandwagon, you know? If something's popular, it's like everybody wants to do the same thing.
You get a lot of characters around here who don't conform to any one particular dress sense. Just say, I'm going to wear this today, and I don't care what someone says. I don't care if anyone looks at me, because I'm going to be an individual, like me.
You get all sorts of strange people pass by.
A lot of people come to Portobello because they find something unusual.
Most of the people we have on the markets are not even British, so they bring in influences from all over the world.
It's designer wear, not high street.
Most of my pieces are one-offs. You won't find a repeat, you know? And I mean, repeating a pattern like that is near enough impossible.
This is quite groovy. Gold crushed velvet.
Yeah, this jacket here, I made them last week.
It goes something like this. Up around your neck.
If you like, young kids on the street were buying these very old, traditional French luxury goods brands like Louis Vuitton and things like that, which is a kind of way of buying into a lifestyle that's completely denied to them because they're marginalised. It's like a weird political act. It's a way of undermining these luxury brands, which is a fantastic idea. Burberry was the most painfully uncool thing you could ever imagine. It's what your grandma wore, not even what your mum wore. I mean, it was, and now it's super cool. The weird thing that's now happened is that this, if you like, a lot of the black people who took this style on, now these houses have started to copy them back. You know, and that is a brilliant cycle that brands go through. They become the antithesis of themselves, and by doing so they become cool. It's a parody of something that's parodying itself, which is a really mad idea.
I think it has become more modern and more young. It used to be very classic. You know, I would wear it, for example.
Did you see the menswear shows in Milan? I mean, everyone's fighting to have the biggest rap star they possibly can in their show to kind of give this kind of really bankrupt, kind of white, middle-class fashion some kind of edge and some kind of glamour. And I can't imagine where it could go next.
When things get so famous, they become basically logos, and then you instantly associate it with something. So you can read people. When people wear, for example, a Burberry skirt, that means immediately tradition, laid back, secure people, country. If you combine it with a Chanel top, that means like, oh, I could afford this top, but I'm not taking it too seriously because I'm wearing it with Doc Martens or whatever. That is how you use it. You use symbols. And how you combine the symbols, that is what makes your personal style. Fake is based in everything that's English, or traditionally what people think is English or British. We started basically with recycling cashmere and cutting them into the shape of Union Jacks. And of course we specialize in very intricate patchwork, like things like that. Off we go. Okay, next. The shoe collection, inspired in English brogues. No, it's not the real material. In the English culture, you find lots of things that are still romantic, or they have a You know, when you see something like the English rose, which we have used, it is a symbol for a nation. Come on, baby. Give it to me, baby. Hang on. This season we have done something inspired in the fight with the Normans. And this is a sort of chainmail, everyday wear type thing, you know. Again, open your legs like that. Very nice, Bianca Marie. And every season we make like a promotional gift. This is a bit faded now, but this is made with tea, and it's like a cup of English tea in the shape of Britain, basically. And then we put it here. You can see it better, probably. It's splattered around. So it's called Capa di Londra, and it came inside a tea bag.
It's cool.
I have to do your.
I like what Fake do. I think it's a clever idea.
You look like an Eskimo.
They've kind of tuned into that kind of fetish quality, you know, which is really what fashion's all about.
Like Liam Gallagher. Hey, sold!
You know, it's a kind of must-have thing. Send me over one now. The first stage in actually creating a three-dimensional design is pattern cutting and toile making. It's a version of the design made in calico, which is a cheap fabric. Now, there's lots wrong with this. This is miles too high. That's going to go. Very dodgy area, this, because if you cut it wrong, you can sort of see your bust, so you have to keep this tight enough to stay up. We have to make allowances for this stand because she's got very rigid bust. Like no woman's bust is this high and this pointed, and the shoulder line's in the wrong place. That's better, isn't it? Yes. So if it looks good in a toile, it's going to look brilliant in the fabric.
Well, Central St. Martin's is probably the best fashion college in the world. Just look at the list of graduates. It reads like a who's who of the British fashion industry. Galliano, Stella McCartney, Alexander McQueen, and so on. And all the students graduating from there now are really going to shape the international fashion scene. There's no doubt about that.
The course here is so tough, and the standards are so high, what's expected of you, that it will attract the most talented people. So this is one that's just sort of work in progress. This isn't actually a finished dress. From this I can sort of work out where I then want things to be, and then I can do the next one slightly more planned. It's a whole process. Unfortunately, I can't get anyone to help me because it's such. I mean, it's like a painting. You can't get someone else to sew them on as you would sew them on. So I think it looks like I'll be sewing all 6,000 of these felt rectangles on myself. It's quite exciting, sort of not knowing what's going to happen next. You know, it does sort of change every day what's going on, but it's nice letting those sort of accidental things happen. I think that's very important. I mean, the best things come out of accidents, mistakes, I find. And it's sort of just being aware of those things happening.
Right, it's those three. You're doing these. You need white paper, don't you? Where's that gone? Oh, she's got a helper. She found a friend. Well, you've never had a friend in 18 months. I'm absolutely shocked. It's the friendless student. Right, here are the models. Let's get them dressed. Bloody hell, what's happened to those sleeves? They look like trumpets.
Oh, right, and I added much extra so that, a lot extra so we could chop that. That's all got to come off.
I was thinking last night, I think these have all got to be shorter, just to kill you. Can you hitch it up, Jason? Up, 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 up. Right, hit down, down a bit, up a bit. That's what they should look like. Come and look, Alex. Your assistant can pin. I think we may have to, but don't do it until Tuesday. To not get away with chopping the hem and taking all the sequins off, but cut the middle out. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And join it back up where you put the drawstring, because you're never going to know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much more what you originally wanted to do. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's just going for it.
Okay, so before we do talk about that, we need to talk about last term's project. Yeah. I mean, research. What do you think?
Did quite a lot of research for the
I thought the
flower.
research was quite good, you know, it was quite thorough. I'm teaching on the MA, which is the degree that I did. It's kind of, you know, it's extreme teaching at that level.
Yeah, and then we love this one.
You're scaring me, Christina.
No, but it's just a way.
And I'm quite hard to scare. You do get people who are producing probably some of the best work that's coming out of any college anywhere in the world.
In fashion, you take images and then you make a real thing, like the garments. And I just thought this step is not necessary anymore. The film is just a different way of seeing things, and you can use the film as a fashion tool, for instance. There's still a collection. I mean, you have far more shapes and garments, but they just exist in the film. I could have never done it if my course director had not decided that we should try new things. And I mean, that is like a major step, that I'm actually allowed not to make any clothes at all. It is about basically pushing the borders. The thing is, for me, it's almost like the most important thing that the film will be shown on the catwalk.
This is an extremely beautiful piece of fabric. When the factory's done all the work, or the supplier's done all the work, you don't really have to do anything to it. Because I want to use the edge of this fabric, which is all this incredibly costly fringing that I've had made, so I don't want to chop it off. And that is going to look approximately like that. When you see it on the stand for the first time, it's real. That is a really exciting moment, because it's the first time you realise whether something has worked or not. And looking at this, I think it's worked. If you didn't love it, love the actual process of doing it, you couldn't do it, and you'd certainly never be good at it. That all the people I've ever known who have been really great are completely obsessed with it.
Another interesting aspect of the London fashion scene is the number of outstanding craftsmen. Just take Whitaker Malem, who've contributed pieces for collections by Valentino, Givenchy, and most recently Tommy Hilfiger. They also produce their own designs for private clients like Madonna, the Spice Girls, Cher, George Michael, Bono, Mick Jagger.
We actually came up with a leather tartan. I do think this one's a world first. I don't think anyone's ever done a stitched leather applied tartan like this. I've never seen it on a garment. I think the other reason that people might suspect there's a lot of handwork in these is when they see the price ticket, because they will be probably the most expensive trousers we've ever made. And that is saying something. I think if we've had one influence, it has been that we reintroduced this idea of doing pieces, and that London fashion wasn't just going to be about the latest sort of street trend or doing t-shirts, and that we were, you know, this whole craft thing has really kicked off big time. What's lovely about this is, and what's been so directional with leather recently, and what's really come about, is this use of leather with the raw edge. It's craft work, and you have to play it by ear as you go along. With the piece evolves in that way. It's quite organic. We did have almost 10 years of doing our own thing, and we were very lucky because we made very few pieces each season. We only ever made about 15, 16 things, but at least 10 of them would actually get press on them. It's a bit like developing a film or something like that. You don't actually know what you've really got till it's completely dried out.
You only good at embroidery, Emmanuel?
What sort of fabric?
I need you to embroider the skirt.
Skirt? Anthony is a very simple person, really. And
Simple?
Yeah.
Just watch it, right?
And he's quite a quiet life, really, and he doesn't do many exciting things. He's just very much into his designing. That's all I know about him.
Are you trying to sound boring, Emmanuel? Is that what this is
No,
going?
he's not. Actually, he can make you laugh.
I really enjoy the process of making things and problem solving on a technical level. To me, you know, fashion is mainly engineering. There's no industry standard for anything. You can invent new methods of making and producing things constantly.
What he creates are very different to what is in the market or what has been, put together by most of his designer colleagues.
I shouldn't say it, but probably the best stuff I've ever done has been a function of errors and things not working.
If it were all done at the factory, it couldn't be done like that.
Because a lot of these things I'm just kind of making it up as I go along.
Whenever he thinks of a thing, wants to do it this way, then I just put it together.
I'm going to try and do something really scary now, which is probably not going to work. I have a feeling or an idea about something and I just go in straight into it. It's this wise. And it leads you off into completely different directions, and some you might have started off trying to do a skirt and you end up with a coat. I would consider myself to be an artisan, maybe not an artist. I think probably the thing that determines fashion as being outside of art is the fact that it's commercially produced and in such vast numbers. You know, having said that, I'm sure the process and the energy is exactly the same, you know, as a sculptor or a writer or a painter. I mean, I'm sure I'm using the same part of myself to produce the work. I think that's going to look really top, you know. I mean, it's quite a scary concept, a bright red knitted dress. It's quite a funny thing to do. I mean, it's even funny when the fabric costs 35 quid a metre as well. So the dress would be about £1,000, so it wouldn't, you know. Got to be rich with a good sense of humour. It's all such a worry, isn't it? I don't know what to do for just don't know what to do for the best, you see. I could have a nightmare about this tonight. This red dress coming towards me.
I was so tired of seeing the same old jewellery in the shops for years and years and years.
I really do like this. One of my little favourites. And I'm not sadistic.
Violently elegant is something I describe my work at. And I bring in the elegance from my training as a traditional diamond melter. I was approached by Alexander McQueen to produce something for him for a fashion show. And then from that we just escalated each season to each season. I made something from making fine, small jewellery to then create larger things in silver, which wasn't what I was used to. I kind of self-taught myself silversmithing to create larger pieces for catwalk. McQueen would come back to me saying, well, can we do this, can we do that, can we do that bigger? He just comes to me now and he just does a rough sketch and he knows that I know exactly what he wants. To get these exactly the same length, exactly the same weight, because they've got to balance. I hope the models are going to wear them, because they can refuse to wear these things. Topshop will be selling these like crazy. I want jewellery to speak a bit more now, and I want it to actually reflect an attitude or a person's persona. There's 300 rings in each piece. And now I sometimes actually do stand back and I think, hold on a minute, I'm actually making the clothes from metal. It's really going to body sculpture, basically. It's not just jewellery anymore. I'm in my own little world, really, where fashion's concerned in jewellery. It's like as if I'm a Jekyll and Hyde jeweller. I've got tradition and classic and the beautiful side of it. And I've got the other side, which is the animal in me, where jewellery just going crazy, just to go mad with it.
Well, just because I'm coming, it'd be so great if I could at least even have a look at it, yeah. I require a lot of relationship with the people that I work with, and if I don't like them and I can't talk to them and communicate with them, I can't work with them, and it's just that simple. Okay. You know, I can tell you exactly where everything is in any factory that I've got going. You know, I know whether it's been cut, whether it's on the machine, whether it's at sample stage, whether it's in finishing, whether it's been QC'd or anything. I know exactly what it is because I talk to everybody every day. You know, you have to be that on it.
Oh, you're certainly one of the most talented I have met. We made his samples, and they were absolutely beautiful. I mean, nothing like I've seen before. We're not in a big sort of big production like 2,000-3,000. We specialize in, you know, the highest quality garments, expensive stuff, couture. It's just some of the things we have made in this factory. Sophie Rice-Jones, Bruce and John Lumley, Marcus Lupfer, Jasper Conran, Maureen Littman, Thomas Jackett, Gold Lally, Margaret Thatcher, Paul Frith, Camilla Parker Bowles, my friend Mickey Duff and my wife, and of course Diana wearing our suit on V-Day. As we are told, we are the best factory in this country. People tell me, I saw your jacket, because I can tell you made them in your factory. First show I went to, I was crying. And my wife, you know, was so proud of, we actually made it, you know, I mean, who would have thought, you know, we make jackets for Thomas Dzeski or Bruce Oldfield or Jasper Conrad, you know. That's a good part. My prices are high. When we make samples, and they are made beautifully, they sell more. I like to help Anthony because I know he hasn't got much money, so sometimes what we normally charge 100% for samples, I charge 50, just to help him a little bit. Because I know how hard it is. He hasn't found anybody who will actually be prepared to, you know, spend a bit of money on him. No, as I say, we want him to sell more like everybody else and to come back to us. It's a very risky business.
Most British designers spend so much of their time trying to get through the day, you know, and trying not to go bust and trying to make it work. Like all creative people, you just do it because you have to. You know, you do it because not doing it is worse. The flip side of that, which is brilliant and totally unique, is that in this country you can stand up and say, look, I'm a fashion designer, and someone's going to turn up and look at it, and someone's probably going to write about it, and someone's probably going to buy a bit of it. When you absolutely could not do that in any other country in the world, it just wouldn't be tolerated. Whereas we actively encourage that kind of risk-taking, but yet we're not prepared to see that through, which is a shame. When we're doing line-up, you know, we're basically trying on the outfits on someone who has the right size of body so that we can get a sense of the proportion and which things are going to go with which things. The thing that you like, was it that? The red? So it's that point you actually see for the first time whether this collection has worked. This sort of S&M granny blouse hasn't made it. It's a nice idea, but it's just not beautiful. It's more of a concept thing, a sort of blouse made out of kid leather. This, which we just agreed was hideous, didn't we? I mean, a lot of things don't, and just might never appear. You know, this cashmere roses thing that we did, we decided we don't like it. And that took a lot of time. And it was a very expensive thing to do, but we just don't like it, it just hasn't worked. So you just have to kind of let it go. But I mean, I'm not panicking that much anymore because the stuff that we've got is really strong and it's really cohesive. And if we end up with 35 exits instead of 44, I don't care because it's still a good show. Do you want to stand over there because the light's a bit better? Like? Yeah. Yeah? So we're going to stand over there for us. We like that, don't we? Yeah, good, that was easy. Lovely. The first show I ever went to see was Vivienne Westwood, and I can remember being physically almost sick with excitement. You know, it affected me quite deeply, and it sounds ridiculous, but I would love to be able to have that effect on somebody else. So someone else is sitting in the audience just feeling sick with excitement as these things are coming out. Have any of the other girls turned up?
I've seen a couple.
Fashion Week, that is the big moment.
They're doing that, but it's not a problem because we've only got to grab them and drag them through.
Looms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, within half an hour, we have a panic about where they are. It's about getting attention. It's about being noticed.
Hello? Yes, where are we?
Oh, God. This is never going to happen.
I just think it's here.
Yeah.
Because it's looking very grey. Okay, so basically what the scenario is, as soon as she hits this point and poses, she goes out. Do you know what I mean? A little bit of kind of bourgeois lady, but with a really hard, strong in the eyes. You know the thing, and really work it because the clothes are quite strong. Come on, let's have a go.
Let's be.
Come on, Rose, give us a bit. Give it a bit of something, girl.
Erica. Shanna.
Fine, so we're basically going to go in 10 minutes.
Fashion Week for me is about having a show, and it's showing people what it is that you're selling, trying to get them to like it more than somebody else's. And the competition's pretty fierce.
Right, we're ready. We're getting. I think we're kind of getting there. Yeah.
First outfit, ladies.
Here we go.
What goes up must come down. Spinning wheel, gotta go round. Talking about your troubles, it's a crying sin. Ride a painted pony, let your spinning wheel spin. You got no money, you got
sometimes it can be disappointing when you see something of your own that was so difficult to do, and you see it going down the catwalk, and you can actually remember the hours of torment that you spent with this thing, getting it to look like that. And it looks incredibly effortless and simple, and no one really notices it. And you know, you kind of want to run out on the catwalk and turn it inside out, going, no, look how clever this is. Look how much I've loved this thing. Please understand.
Great, yes, we love. I thought the collection was really sensational. It was so kind of Charlie's Angels, but really updated, and that's what young girls want to wear. This is his 5th collection, and I think it's probably his most polished to date, and it's fantastic because it really is British, but he's making it really, really modern. And it's fresh and it's very sophisticated. And there's always the thrill of watching a designer like Anthony, for example, kind of get better and better at what he's doing.
Yeah, too bright. Hello, did you enjoy it?
Fashion designing, what a weird thing to do. What a weird way of expressing your creativity, and it is, and I can't explain it. I just can't explain why. It's better than working though, isn't it?